Right now we're doing a 50-0 stop on the Goodwin 4-piston caliper brakes on the ND Miata. Let's do it. Well, that was pretty quick, and that's when the calipers are cold right now, so they can only get better from here. Today we're talking about the Wilwood 4-piston brake calipers on your ND Miata. Are they worth the purchase? Well, let's find out. Let's do another run at 50 miles an hour and see how quick this Miata can stop. All right, we'll be doing another stop from 50 miles an hour now that the brakes are a little bit warmed up, and we'll see how quick this Miata can stop. Hey guys, real quick, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And go. Pretty good, if you ask me. Now, of course, this is a very isolated example. I just wanted to give you guys a quick idea of how quick these 4-piston calipers can stop my Mazda Miata, and hopefully it gives you a little rough estimate as to how quick it can stop your Mazda Miata. Now, on the track, this car brakes very well. When I first had this car and I had the stock calipers on this car, it was definitely a little bit lackluster. When I would go on the track, after about the 3rd or 4th lap, the brakes would start to fade and I would have to get off the track to let the car cool down, and really that's not something I preferred. Just a typical Supra, coming to the same spot I was just at. That's my private road, of course, my private racing facility. He's just borrowing it. So anyways, here are the Wilwood brake calipers. We see them nicely nestled inside these Advanti Storm S1 rims, as well as on some Nitto NT05s, which I'll make a video about. So really my motivation for getting those improved brakes was, of course, improved braking power. And with these Wilwood 4-piston calipers, not only do you get more braking power, but you also shave 5 pounds, just about, of unsprung weight. I think specifically it's 4.6 pounds. But it's a really good amount, and you feel it on the road when you're driving or if you're cornering around in the canyons. The front does feel a little bit lighter when you're steering through. But oddly enough, initially the braking power was worse on these brakes, and I was very worried. I was like, why are these brakes not working as well as the stock ones? And well, one thing you guys need to know if you're going to upgrade to these brakes is that they have a longer break-in period. On the stock pads, I could go maybe 5-10 miles and they would work good as new, but with these pads, it took them 50 to 100, maybe even 150 miles to break them in. And that was after I did the 5 hard stops and of course the whole break-in process. So there's definitely more of a break-in process that I wasn't aware of, and it made me a little bit concerned about how well they're actually braking. On the rears, I chose to keep it stock, mostly stock. I have the drilled and slotted rotors in the rears, but the stock calipers, and I'm running an aggressive compound. What's modified is the brake pads and the brake rotors. So the club models come with improved brakes, so this video is really more towards our GT and sport owners like I have the GT. So having those stock single piston calipers on the front was really obsolete for a car like this. Yes, the car weighs 2,200 pounds, but still, on the track, even with an aggressive compound, a car like this, if you're winding it out, it's gonna want that extra braking power. And then throw a turbo on there like I have with this car, you really want to have some upgraded brakes. At the least, upgrade the fronts. From my research, the rears don't necessarily need to be upgraded. If you're aggressively driving your car in autocross or on the track daily, then I would recommend it. But for most canyon drivers like you and I most likely, or just spirited drivers, having those upgraded front calipers are a must-have in my opinion, considering how much they are. It was time to replace my rotors as well as my pads on my front wheel, so I decided to look around and just see what are some upgrade options. How much would it cost to actually upgrade to some Wilwood calipers? And to my surprise, it was only about $650 to get those Wilwood calipers installed. And that was quite a deal in my opinion, because getting those rotors and as well as the pads, I was already looking at $400, and to pay $650 and it comes with pads, that's a steal. Another thing you guys should know is pick the right compound. For me, I picked a very aggressive track pad in the front, and then I still kept an aggressive rear pad, albeit not as aggressive as the front. And honestly, if I were to go back, I would pick a little bit less of an aggressive front pad, because if I'm driving in the morning and it's cold, these brakes squeak quite a bit. Nothing unbearable, but definitely something where I'm slowing down at a stop and someone's like, oh man, what's up with your brakes? And then I got to explain to them that, well, it's a track pad and they squeak more. So after putting about 10,000 miles on these brake calipers, would I recommend it to other people? Well, it's really about what your intentions are with your Miata. If you feel like you're maxing out the limits on your braking system, especially if you have a ND GT or a sport model, and you're driving your car hard, you know how your car runs, but sometimes you just run into brake fade, or you wish you had that extra stopping power, then I would recommend upgrading to these Wilwood 4 pistons, because these are not the best brakes you can get for the front, but they're a solid upgrade. You can get 6-piston front calipers, but from my research, they're quite overpowered, meaning you won't really use them on the street 99% of the time. These are nice. It's a very good middle ground where you get to use that extra stopping power, but you're not shelling out thousands of dollars for a new brake kit. You're really only shelling out 600 bucks, and it's not as expensive as you think if it's time to replace your rotors. So for me, I got it when I was replacing my rotors and pads. So if it's time for your Miata to get some new rotors and pads, I would consider it. So overall, I'm happy with my purchase with my Wilwoods right there. I would strongly recommend you guys to check these calipers out. You can buy them at many places, Flying Miata, Goodwin Racing. They all have these calipers in stock for the most part. So give them a look. I'm sure you can find them somewhere. So I hope this video was informative to you guys. If it did, subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.